North Coast football. All right, hey, welcome to the Week 3 recap for the North Coast Football Fantasy Football League. I am John Clark. I'm going to be going on a journey with you guys through the Week 3 matchups. We survived another week. No major injuries. There were a few, but not nearly as many as Week 2. I don't know if you guys noticed, but I was pretty bummed during the Week 2 recap. There were so many injuries to so many players. So this week we avoided that kind of catastrophe, although my team couldn't survive the catastrophe that was Bones Bombers. So let's take a look at the league overall standings. What happened after Week 3? A lot of movement again, and that's going to happen, especially these early weeks, that's going to happen. We have Josh and the wet-ass Pips. They got defeated, so can't stay number one when there's two other undefeated teams out there. So he slipped a little bit, and that left the only surviving John, who's now on the top, half of the league of the three Johns that are out there. Mr. Bones Bombers, John the Elder, he takes first place, and right behind him is Vince, Marsala Maulers, both of them still undefeated. 3 weeks in, undefeated. That's pretty good, Right on down the line, you can see the bottom half of the league. There's a lot of 1 and 2s. Oh, lots of us are in that kind of situation. So the only thing you can do in 1 and 2 is to give up. Give up. There's only 10 more weeks to go, guys. All right. So, hey, listen. There are so many little storylines that developed during this week. And as we talk about each of these matchups, we're going to explore these little things, these little goings on. Some people, they got wins, but they might have lost a key player. Some people, there were quite a few that waited till the Monday night game to actually finish up. A couple of them didn't need to finish up then, but anyways, let's get into it, shall we? Starting us off for Week 3, we've got Jeff and the Banana Slugs. So, the unluckiest team in our league so far, plagued with injuries to his star players. I know, you guys know his situation. It's awful. So we got a bye week. We gave him a little bit of a rest. But let's take a look and see what his team did, even with the week off here. Gardner Minshew. Ooh, man. Oh, in that Thursday night game against Miami, they had him running all over the place. Good gracious, Gardner Minshew, poor guy, with the 9.2. And who would have thought that Carson Wentz is on your bench getting a tie with the Bengals, getting 21.5. Carson's awful. He had a decent fantasy week, but Carson Wentz, good Lord. Both your QBs looked a little silly this week. And I'm sorry for it, but that's how it was, right? Now, I realize you're down to some desperation plays here, man. Especially going forward, no more bye weeks for you, right? So Frank Gore, I know you had to bite the bullet. You put in Frank Gore, and you saw the 6.7 points for that. Jerick McKinnon for San Francisco, better, much better, 15.2. And, look, both those backfields are a mess. So I know on your bench you've got Mr. Rex Burkhead. Boy, did he have a week. Man, oh man, when that game ended, I immediately tried to see who had Rex Burkhead and if they had the cojones to put him in this week. And then when I saw you were on a bye, I was like, okay, it doesn't really matter anyway. But Rex Burkhead going forward, which means next week it's going to be somebody else, with New England's backfield. They're going to lull you into playing him, and then Belichick's going to be like, no, I'm going to switch it up now. I'm the best coach in the world. And I mean, Sony Michel, the counterpart, getting 18. Goodness gracious. Belichick is messing with our minds. Messing with our minds here. Moving on to your wide receivers here. Adam Humphries, Tennessee. Goodness gracious. What's Tennessee doing? What is Tennessee? There were some high hopes. High hopes this offseason. But then you turn around and you got Hunter Renfrow. Derek Carr's new best friend. 17.4. Man. Look, Jeff, you're making lemonade out of lemons here, man. Making lemonade out of lemonade. You're making lemons out of lemonade. I don't think that's how that goes. That's not how that goes. Mark Andrews, super disappointing. I mean, the Ravens, Kansas City made the Ravens look ridiculous. That's just completely unfortunate. 3.7. But again, be glad it's on your bye week. Yeah, I mean, when I went up against you, he did not put up 3.7. No. Golden Tate, New York's a mess. That's a crapshoot in New York too. But again, I know you're going through a lot. So, with Brashad Perryman out, Michael Thomas out, you didn't have a lot of options there, man. I'm not gonna lie, didn't have a lot of options. Anyway, look, going forward, I don't envy the task that you have to complete to get this team back up on its feet. I really don't. I really don't. So, anyway, going forward, best of luck to you, Jeff. I'm glad you got a week to rest, take it all in. Now go out and make them moves. Try to make them moves, man. Spend that fab. Get those get the waiver wire hotness. Don't have a lot to trade for unless you want to try to, trade Rex Burkhead. When he off a hot week. Anyways, good luck to you, man. Good luck. Okay, so for our first head-to-head matchup this week, we've got Adam and the 8-bit defenders against Dan with these unprecedented times. Oh, man. And it was not close. Was not close. As you can see by the score here, Dan ended up with 121 against Adam with 80.08. But let's see what happened. Let's see what happened on each team here. We're going to start with Adam, the 8-bit defenders here. Big Ben getting you 18 points. Hey, that's fine. That's a fine score. And then Mark Ingram happened. And Kenyon Drake happened. Both disappointing. Mark Ingram probably the most. I don't know what Baltimore's doing in that backfield. That is a mess. That is a mess that I'm glad I don't have any part of. I'm not going to lie. You would think they could get something going. I mean, even against Kansas City, Lamar Jackson's so dynamic. Their running backs would, anyways. I'm not going to harp on that a lot. I'm not going to do it. I want to try to find the positives here. But Mark Ingram getting you 3 points. That's got to be enraging. And of course, Kenyon Drake, he's been, I don't know, he's been disappointing again with a running quarterback. You'd think that would open the game up for him. But yeah, that's a rough go of it with your RBs. Yeah, getting you 11 points combined. AJ Green, it's another one. I see a theme going on here. I see a theme. It's like, hey, I'm okay, and then you're disappointed a couple times, and then you're okay, and then you're disappointed a couple times. But AJ Green with only six points, and that's against the Eagles. Ugh, man. Chris Godwin getting you 14.9, but now there's the whole what's going on with Godwin? Oh my gosh. I think I last heard he's out. He's out. I could be wrong. Am I wrong? I don't think so. Of course, you left George Kittle in. Mistakes were made. It's not the worst mistake that someone did this week. We'll get into that later. But that's not going to help your team. It's not going to help your team. And then we've got Hunter Henry. Tight end. Tight end. You know, you played a tight end in your flex while leaving your questionable tight end in your tight end slot. You know, I'm not worried about you, Adam, but I'm worried about you a little bit here, bud. Okay, so Joe Burrow, he might be a thing now, man. Even as bad as that team is, he's making it work. He really is. 23 points to go along with it. Not bad, not bad. Adrian Peterson on your bench. Look, the way Mark Ingram's going, you got some options. I know you're waiting for James White to come back. Then you've got the whole Patriots backfield questions going on. But hey, listen, you've got Chase Claypool. You know, he's one of the hot waiver wire guys this week for your wide receiver position. So you've got him already. Maybe go ahead with a Big Ben stack. I don't know. That could be something depending on the matchup. And then, of course, Darius Slayton and Dalton Schultz. You're sitting on a lot of tight ends there, bud. A lot of tight ends. Obviously, I know why you're sitting on Kittle. You're not going to drop Kittle. And you need at least one to replace him and actually put in the tight end slot. So, anyways. Maybe I don't know if he was a shot in the dark for you or maybe hoping for a lotto ticket there in Dallas. But anyways. A lot of lows scoring, a lot of guys not even reaching their floors, you know. That's disappointing. The flip side of that, here we go with Dan with these unprecedented times. 121. Very respectable score. Very respectable. I mean, obviously, anytime it's enough to get you a W, it's good. But anytime you can go above the average, hey, that's just mo better. All right, so starting Aaron Rodgers, I don't see why you'd go with anybody else. He's He's looking good. He's looking good. He's not old and washed up yet. And then here we go on to your running backs. So even though, look, I know I've mentioned it before, you've got both your running backs are gold star on your roster, and you're going to look for about 30 points from them combined each week. And this week's no exception. Even with Josh Jacobs having a pretty, that's a pretty abysmal score from him. You expect a lot more. I mean, if they can both hit big, you know, you've got that possibility. But anyway, this week it was Dalvin Cook being your superstar and Josh Jacobs being slightly disappointing, right? Anything sub 10 for either of these guys, it's like, man, what happened? What happened? Anyways, Will Fuller, there you go. Will Fuller coming through for you with the 13.4 and still healthy. Will Fuller is still healthy. That's a victory right there. And Metcalf, I mean, even with 20, that's a little deceptive. I know he had a lot of. I think I said this last week too, but he had some really obvious like drops that were his fault. But take the 20. That Seattle team is looking incredible, and you've got their wide receiver one. There you go. All right, here we go. T.J. Hawkinson, 7.3. I did my player recap video. I talk about tight ends and how they're pretty much awful. So 7.3 from Hawkinson. Take it, right? Take it. Now, Deshaun Jackson in your flex. I know we made a little trade. I traded you Deshaun Jackson and got MVS. I had to hedge my bets against in the Green Bay situation, but I'll talk to that when I get to my matchup. I wasn't trying to give you I wasn't trying to rip you off or nothing. In fact, I mean, Deshaun Jackson outscored MVS this week. But I know he's done, right? He got injured. Deshaun Jackson does not recover like he used to. He does not bounce back. So, fortunately for you, you do have Mr. Kenny Golladay back. And, I mean, I'm sure he'll probably find his way up into your lineup. He had a great game. 14.7 for Mr. Golladay. There you go. Now, the rest of your lineup, I mean, Jerry Jeudy, it's good to know he's back. He didn't really suffer that badly. It's just right now Denver is, I'm not sure what's going on there. They should be doing better. But anyway, Jerry Jeudy's back, and obviously you can probably drop Sterling Shepard for something else without sweating it too much. I don't think anyone's going to be like, why do you drop Sterling Shepard? Anyway, Philip Lindsay, yeah, definitely hold. All right, very nice. So, excellent first matchup here. Both you guys 2-1, upper half of the league. I don't think either of you can really complain. I know Adam, it sucks to lose, but next time set your lineup a little bit better there, buddy. All right. Anyway, on to the next one. Okay, so our next matchup here. My team for Castleton went up against John the Elder, Bones Bombers. I'm not going to lie, I wasn't looking forward to this matchup. Right after the draft, I thought, man, why do I have to have him in week 3 so early in the season? Can it be late? Later on, maybe lineups and rosters changed. He didn't have to change much. He did make a few changes we'll talk about. But I think John the Elder, I think he's trying to assert dominance. And at first I thought it was maybe just over the other Johns. He had John the Younger last week. And then he had me, the better John, the best John, this week. And he obliterated both of us. But now I think he's just trying to assert dominance over the entire league. He's only one of 2 remaining undefeated teams. And he's not slowing up. He's not slowing up. I'd say take it easy, but this is fantasy football. This is fantasy football. You don't take it easy. You don't let up. All right. Well, let's start with my team. So only 105 points. I gotta admit, I was disappointed in that score. I had a lot of guys that did okay, but nobody boomed for me. Nobody boomed. I needed some booms. Didn't have a single boom, and I had one complete and utter failure. All right, so let's take a look at this storyline here. Kyler Murray got me 21. I expect about 20 from Kyler. That's fine. It didn't help that he had 3 interceptions. That was hard to watch. That was hard for me to watch. I was like, really? Come on, dude. You're throwing to some of the best receivers, DeAndre Hopkins, in the game, man. 21 points. But that was not where my team failed me. No, it's not. Aaron Jones and Clyde Edwards-Helaire, both of them with 15 points. I'm fine with that. Look, I'm fine with that. Again, anytime my 2 running backs combine for 30, that's what I'm looking for. That's what I'm expecting. Anything over that, great. Anything less than that, depends on how far down it goes to the depth of my disappointment. But 30 points between my 2 RBs, I'll take it, right? Robert Woods, man, oh man, everything. I almost pulled him. Bad matchup. Everyone was yelling, bad matchup. He's going up against a really good corner. He did great. Oh, thank you, Mr. Robert Woods. He did great for me. Terry McLaurin, oh, that was hard to watch too. Of course I watched it. That Washington's my team, and of course I watched Terry McLaurin get target after target in the end zone, only to Haskins. Wide receivers are only good as good as their quarterbacks, people. They're only as good as their quarterbacks. I'm still happy with Terry McLaurin. I will still play Terry McLaurin, especially with Devontae Adams out. But he could. Oh, so that was a disappointment. This is where the disappointment starts. It's here. Hayden Hurst, tight ends, suck so bad this year. But my miscalculation of the week was MVS, Marquez Valdez-Scantling. You might notice that when I create the graphics for these, that the player columns are pretty set. Mine seem to be a little bit wider than everybody's, because I have two guys with the longest freaking names. When you have a hyphenated last name, the graphics need a little more space. Not that I'm running out of room, but still. But my miscalculation, Devontae Adams was out, and I said, oh, I have Marvin Jones I could put in, or I can try to make a move. And I did. I traded with Dan, the unprecedented times. Um, and I got MVS thinking, hey, it's either going to be him or Lazard. And hopefully there's going to be a split. As you can tell, since Mr. Bones Bombers over there has Lazard, you guys can see. You guys can see what happened. The disparity there that I did not appreciate. Miscalculations. Now, honestly, if that had been reversed, there would have been significant changes in the overall score. But hey, this is fantasy. This happens. You got to live with disappointment. So no booms and a huge. That sunk me. That sunk me for the week. Now, onto the bench again. I don't really have a lot going on my bench. I really don't. Marvin Jones would have been a better play. Wouldn't have made up anything, but he would have been a better play with only 6.6 points. But a lot of the other guys I'm sitting on, I'm hoping. Cam Akers, man, when he comes back, he's got all the talent in the world, and he's got a minor injury. He should be coming back here shortly. And Damian Harris coming back in I think 2 weeks. He can be off of IR. I don't know. Maybe Belichick will figure it out. But I'm really waiting for Devontae Adams to come back. Hamstring injuries are tricky. And Fitz. I love you, Fitz, but I'm not that nostalgic for you. Now, hey, on to the winner. On to the Supreme John. Maybe he's not John the Elder anymore. Maybe he's the Supreme John. I don't know. Hey, his team so far seems to back that up. Now, Lamar Jackson, 14 points. That is unexpected. Even going up against Kansas City, you're expecting a shootout, but Lamar Jackson, he had a bad game. All of Baltimore had a poor performance there. You could really tell who the number one team is in the NFL, but we're not talking about that team. We're talking about Mr. Bones Bombers team. Derrick Henry, 29. That's ridiculous. Like 27 of that was in the last 2 minutes. Okay, no, I'm exaggerating, but most of that, the 2 scores. I thought going through that game, I was watching and I thought, man, okay, Derrick Henry's oh crap, no he is. Oh, and then he's doing it again. Derrick Henry, 29 points for you. There's a boom. Chris Carson, that was scary, man. That was really scary. And I'm a huge fan of Chris Carson. And when dude did the alligator roll on his leg, uncalled for. Unnecessary. Fortunately, it looks like it's not as serious as what it could have been. But even if he's out 1 or 2 weeks, it's unnecessary. It's completely unnecessary. But anyway, Chris Carson still getting you 9 points. In that unfortunate situation there with... Anyways. Tyler Boyd, I'm pretty sure you've had him on your team since he's come in the league. I think you've always had Tyler Boyd. And that's the game that wouldn't end. It wouldn't end. I kept yelling at the screen, get off the field. Somebody's scoring overtime. End this. Nope. I'm not done. I got to get 20.5 points. Oh, man. All right, just scrolling down a little bit here. Alan Lazard. I mean, there you are. I know I already talked about him. You're 26. I mean, we both had different sides of the same coin. I think we're both trying to capitalize on the Devontae Adams being out. And your side of the coin came up many more times than mine. All right, so congrats on that move. Good move on your part, man. Made me hate watching that game. All right, Travis Kelce with 11 points. Yeah, all right. All right, that's fine. That's his floor. All right. And Josh Kelly. Flexing Josh Kelly, I mean, obviously looking at your bench scores, you're not gonna flex a tight end. I don't think you would. So, the right move score-wise. Um, but your bench, kind of like me, you've got a couple guys. Zach Moss, again, man, his injury, it wasn't major, but maybe he'll be a late season. If you sit on him, maybe he'll come in the late season and do something for you. Man, that's a talented back right there. And of course, John Brown, he's always on and off, on and off, on and off. But he can have his games, though. You picked the right game. I mean, you picked the right game with Lazard, so I'm not going to question your judgment in terms of picking a game when to put a guy in. So, anyways, still scratching my head on Tannehill, but hey, I ain't coaching your team. I ain't about to. All right, man. It was a good game. Good game. Hopefully, I'll see you in the playoffs, man. That's what I'm hoping for. See you in the playoffs. Finns versus Roy. Matt versus Steve. Here we go, guys. Hey, both teams scored well. The score should have been closer, but look, the weekly average was 115. So Finn's well above that, even though he went up against Roy, who was well above that. But this game it came down to Monday night. So where Roy was able to pull off the W based on the performance of his Monday night players. So let's take a look at what happened here. Let's start with the Finns. Matt, Josh Allen. Man, oh man. Man, oh man. 34.2. Super duper impressive. And, going forward, gosh, what are you going to say about this guy? What are you going to say about him? You got a diamond in the rough there. If he can keep it up. I know he's got some schedule, some matchups coming up that might prove to be a little more challenging. But hey, no, take him when you can get him. Right, 34 points this week. Malcolm Brown, oh man, what a disappointment. 1.9. Good gracious. That you don't want to see that. And then Leonard Fournette, after he boomed against me last week, did not appreciate that. Get you 3 points this week? Are you kidding? So, but the thing is, even with those, and with your mistake of keeping Julio Jones in, who obviously gave you the goose egg, I know he was a game time decision, and a lot of times, you might just, something comes up, you might miss it, right? But even with those three getting 127, that's pretty darn impressive. That means you definitely had some boom on your team, right? Josh Allen was one, and then looking down at Tyler Lockett, boy, Seattle's looking impressive. Man, oh man. 35 points from him. I mean, spread it out a little bit, right? Spread it out a little bit. Then Darren Waller, again, who boomed against me last week. What is it with your guys booming against me? And then, anyways, I'm about to take this personal, Matt. Anyway, Darren Waller, 1.9 after getting, 25 last week. I'm not a bitter man. Okay, and then Keelan Allen. Man, so see what 3 booms can do for your team here? 3 booms? Impressive. Now, obviously Julio Jones, he's got a hammy issue, and they're very, very, I don't know, they're not easy to predict, right? So keep an eye on that situation. But game 1 he got 3 points. Game 2 he got like 23 points. So would he have won you the day? I can't. There's no way to know. Not a definitive yes or no. But anyways, the replacements wouldn't have made a difference. Let's see. So looking at your bench. Oh, man. I think I have to take that back. I forgot you had McCole Hardman. Which probably would have been the play, right? Unless you put Preston Williams in. Anyways, yeah, the 16 points would have made a difference. But hey, you can't live in the past. Can't live in the past. You got to move on. Say, I screwed up. Let's not try to do that going forward. I never make mistakes in fantasy football. I always set the perfect lineups. So, Daniel Jones, hot garbage. DK Dobbins, the whole Baltimore backfield. I know I've mentioned it before. Hot garbage. DeAndre Swift. I don't know. I don't know if you can drop him. Just in my humble opinion. Maybe hold on to him. Mecole Hardman. Man, oh man. The problem is you've got too many good wide receivers. Obviously, if Julio Jones was active, he would have been in your lineup no matter what. Even if he crapped the bed and got you only 3 points, he would have been in your lineup. So, Mecole Hardman, great as a replacement in case Julio's out anymore. Will he always get you 16? Probably not. But Kansas City offense, you want a part of it. And then finally, Preston Smith. Miami. That's fine. All right, moving over to Steve, or should I say Roy? Okay, your comeback king here. 43 points, gave you the W. I mean, what was it? Was it 5 touchdowns? Something ridiculous to get 43 points. Whew, man, super impressive week. Let's see, Devin Singletary. There you go with 14, and your super duper diamond in the rough right there, James Robinson, 27.9 points from a very anemic Jacksonville offense. Man, I didn't realize he actually got that many fantasy points from that week. Just watching the game, you'd have thought, okay, maybe he did okay, but 27 points after that performance, there you go. Allen Robinson also. I mean, I can see why you got 141 points. Impressive, man. These guys definitely exceeded expectations. Devontae Parker, all right, okay, listen. When Allen Robinson goes 26, you can accept 9 from Devontae Parker. And then Austin Hooper, tight ends. I'm so done with them this week. And CeeDee Lamb, from Dallas. Dallas tried it again. They tried becoming some crazy comeback. Fell short, but CeeDee Lamb was definitely involved there. Okay, so moving on to your bench here. Tom Brady with 23. Yeah, I heard some analysts talk about how it was awful that Tom Brady and the Patriots won in the same week. It's going to happen, but I just thought that was a funny little joke. David Montgomery, that was a good sit. That was a good sit on your part. Of course, the other guys you sat anyway because they weren't in. Fortunately, I think Mostert and Brown, they don't look like they're serious injuries. They should be available for you soon, but then you can make some game time decisions. I mean, your lineup was pretty much set with the exception of Montgomery, and that was a good move. Sitting him. Anyways, yeah. All right, so 2-1 Steve. All right, 1-2 Matt. You're right there with me. All right, so we're gonna make some moves here. Anyway, very entertaining, especially the comeback part of this one. I wasn't sure Mahomes was going to be able to make up, what was it, a 28? Let's just call it a 30-point deficit you were going into the week with. It was something like that. Making 43 points. Ridiculous. Okay, so next up, Nero's Fiddle against Marsala Maulers. John the Younger against Vince the, I don't know if he exists. So, that's a running joke I like. Okay, now, I feel like I've seen this story before this week. Yeah, I'm pretty sure I did. Very similar to the game that I played. You had one team, everyone was like, all right, okay. And then the other team, it's like, yeah, and I'm going to boom on you a little bit. I'm going to boom on you a little bit. This game's a little closer than that, but let's take a look at what happened. We're going to start with John the Younger team. John the Younger team. John the Younger's team. We got to get that possessive S in there, right? John the Younger's team. Nero's Fiddle. All right, so starting Deshaun Watson. 17 points. Again, okay. All right. Zeke getting you 14. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Kareem Hunt getting you 13. Mm-hmm. Yep. Mm-hmm. I think we can do that we're gonna do the whole roster. Right? They were all fine. But fine doesn't work if you're going up against somebody who's booming all over the place. Thielen and Diggs, the Thielen-Diggs connection there. Diggs, once again, showing up Thielen. And actually Ertz. Now listen, I never ever celebrate injury, but now that Goddard's out of Philadelphia and Wentz is as a man acting in desperation, Ertz going forward doesn't help you this week, but going forward, maybe Ertz will be the Ertz of old. We'll see. 10.5 points. Now the only disappointment really was Edelman. 3.2, but that didn't make or break your week. 109, just below the average, just below the weekly average. All right, so looking on your bench here, Todd Gurley. Oh, the week you didn't play Todd Gurley, but it wasn't awful. I mean, you might have flexed him. You might have flexed Todd Gurley at best. You're not going to put him over Ezekiel Elliott or Kareem Hunt. Not the way Kareem Hunt's been playing, and not the way Gurley's been playing. So, but okay, and of course with Goff getting 30, you're not going to put Goff in over Deshaun Watson or maybe you will going forward. Maybe that's a thing. Just did the top player video, and Goff was on there, QB1 right there in the middle. Right there in the middle, QB1s. Okay. And you got Miller there with 12 points. I mean, your team is solid. It really is, man. And there's a lot of, I'm not telling you anything that's mind-bending here, but you needed a boom, and they didn't get it for you this week. Now, Vince, on the other hand, he had some boom. Starting with Prescott. He did it again. 30 plus. 30 plus. Man, Dak Prescott. I hate to admit, but he's pretty darn good for fantasy football, right? The team record does not reflect how good that team actually is. So, Dak Prescott, 31 points. There you go, Vince. There you go. Mr. Jones with 8.3. Paired up with Gibson. Now, obviously, your running backs, they're not your strength. You've got two, okay. And they both did their job. You got right just under 20 points from them. It's your wide receivers. Scrolling down a little bit here, looking at your wide receivers. Man, Hopkins and Kupp. This was one of the weeks that, it's like the Woods Kupp. Which one? No, they both. And Kupp got the better end this week. 24 points. I don't know. Maybe Goff can support two wide receiver ones. It's possible. Not there yet, but it's possible. And of course, DeAndre Hopkins, he is Kyler Murray's go-to guy. He should just throw it to him all the time and just never, ever stop. Never stop, just every time. Because it seems like that connection is working for him. All right. Gesicki with 8. N'Keal Harry, 4.6. All right. Now, looking at your bench here, still sitting with still going strong with Matty Stafford there. I got you. I ain't gonna judge you for it. Cole Beasley. Cole Beasley had a week. He did. I think Josh Allen is becoming a lot more reliant on Cole Beasley. I mean, he's not. He's not gonna. I don't think he's gonna explode or anything, but he's that little sneaky guy that can get those little short. Like, I'm in trouble. Boop. Give it to Beasley. He got you 16. There you go. No one else to really talk about. Hopefully, Chark will come back at some point. But anyways, yeah, your team took care of business. Hey, if you got 119, 120 every week, you'll be a playoff team. No worries there. You'll be a playoff team. So, all right. I know I got you this week, Vince. I know. Take it easy. Tell Dak to calm himself. Okay, that was Nero's Fiddle and Marsala Mahler's. That was a good matchup. Good game. Hey, I just noticed something. Before we move on to Ryan versus Scott, I didn't notice this when I was going through, but John's sitting on Mr. Carlos Hyde, which, depending on what happens with Chris Carson, that could be a decision you might have to make. Might have to work with him. Anyways, it is worth mentioning. It is definitely worth mentioning. I didn't want to leave that part out. Anyways, okay, moving on. We've got Black Swan Event versus the Hopeful Yokel. Both teams. This is the high-scoring match of the week. Black Swan Event getting the top score by 0.1. But it's still the top score. It's enough to get you the top score of the week. So, Ryan with the Black Swan Event against Scott and the Hopeful Yokel. Let's take a look what happened in this powerhouse high-scoring game. All right. Now, Ryan has Mr. Russell Wilson. What a monster he has been. What a monster. Number one scoring player in the league through 3 weeks. Giving you might as well be 40 points. 40 points. Holy cow. And then Connor coming through for you. Connor, booming. I know he has weeks he can disappear, but not this week. That's for sure. Jonathan Taylor, getting you 12. Yep. Not disappointing there. And then, of course, we got Mr. Ridley. Good gracious. Calvin Ridley was 17? Man. Now, also, the top wide receiver so far through 3 weeks, Mr. Calvin Ridley. Man, you're sitting on some good guys. Here. All right, now, Chenault with 5, Cook with 3. Who needs them? Who needs them when you got your other guys doing that stuff, man? Who needs them? Now, and Mr. Juju Smith-Schuster. All right, giving you 14 in your flex. Man. Look. I'm just going to be Mr. Captain Obvious over here, and your team did really well this week. Hey, but that's not the whole picture, man. That's not the whole picture. Yes, obviously, being the top scorer of the week, you won. You got your W. Which, I think it's been a long time coming. I'm not gonna lie, Ryan. I'm not gonna lie. I think your 1-2 record. You had some close beats there. Well, this one, it was close. Scott, you would have beat most people yet again. But anyways, all right. Looking at your bench here. Sanders came through. David Johnson. I'm not looking. Don't worry about Baker Mayfield there. No, I'm not worried about Mr. Baker Mayfield. But you've got some good. You got some handcuffs. You've got some depth, and that's what you need from your bench, right? I mean, overall, I mean, going forward, look, I know your guys aren't going to boom like this every week. You needed them to boom this week. I mean, considering how close this game was, you needed them to boom, and they did for you. Will you need them to boom every week? No, but it would be nice. It would be nice, wouldn't it? You know, you've definitely got some options week to week. Play your matchups. Try to exploit some of those. You know, David Johnson on a good week. I don't think he's as washed up as some of the analysts are saying right now. But being on your bench right now, that's the good spot for him, right? It's a good spot for him. But anyways, yeah, Captain Obvious opinion is good team. Good job. Looking at Scott again, another great performance. It sucks. It sucks that it came up short, right? Drew Brees. I mean, I'll tell you, you know, as disappointing as that game was for New Orleans, Drew Brees getting 23. All right. And then, of course, you've got Alvin Kamara. You got that New Orleans stack working for you, man. Jeez. 64 points just from your stack there. Nice. Very nice. And then, of course, Chubb. There you go. You know, your running backs, I believe, if I remember right, okay, which I always do, your main two running backs are the two best running backs on any single team in our league. By, you know, I think it's 1-4 overall over 3 weeks. So you got no complaints there, man. And your score reflects that. 133, your score reflects that. Tyreek Hill, I mean, yeah, that's fine. That's fine. Of course you'd want it to be more. Of course. In this kind of loss, of course. But that's great. Now, Marquise Brown, again, nobody saw Baltimore performing so poorly. And I'd have played him all day, every day, honestly. Going up against Kansas City, man. You're like, man, shootout city, points galore. Anyway. Noah Fant, giving you 7. All right. And then Keelan Cole, giving you 6. All right. Now, looking at your bench, you know, you've got some... I don't know. I mean, Jonnu Smith obviously is really good to have that second tight end. I don't think you're ever going to flex him over anybody. You know, you've got some better flex options. But Myles Gaskin, you know, he could be something later. He could be something as the season goes on. If Miami can kind of play, now I know they went up against Jacksonville, so it wasn't, you know, great, but they looked good. They looked good. So you get some of that Fitz magic going. Maybe Gaskin can benefit in a more consistent basis, right? Anyway. Oh, look, Jamison Crowder. He's questionable. He's injured. I'm shocked. That guy can never stay healthy. He really can't. Anyway. All right. Anyways, look, heartbreaker. I know. I know. Anyway, excellent. That was fun to watch. That was a good one. Both teams 1 and 2. You wouldn't know it by their performance this week. You wouldn't know it. So everybody down in that 1 and 2 bracket, basically the bottom half of the league, look out. These guys are no joke. Both teams good, solid teams. Yeah. All right. Anyway, moving on. The last matchup of week 3 in the North Coast Fantasy Football League was Josh and the Wet Ass Pips against Kurt, who's feeling fine. Now, this one going into week 3 was the first place team against the last place team. It's kind of funny how things turn around. In this case, a little bit tragic, but a lot of funny. Okay? Both teams scored below the weekly average of 115, so it wasn't the highest scoring affair here. This one did not take advantage of any of the Monday night game players. So this one was done and over with and decided by the end of Sunday. So both of them, they knew where they stood. And, after week 3, you guys saw the movement in the league at the beginning. Josh is still up there, but definitely not top dog anymore. And Kurt, these moves are paying off. They've come a long way since week 1's 57 points. Come a long way, young man. All right. I'm just messing around. So, we're going to take a look at Josh here. And let's see what happened. This was a lot of number one and most obvious is missing McCaffrey. That's gonna be hard to recover from. Now, at least it's not season-ending like some of the other injuries that we had last week, but he's going to be out for a bit, right? So, in the meantime, what can you do to make up with this or for that? Well, Cam Newton came back down to earth, that's for sure. Only 11 points. Super disappointing after his breakout performances in week 1 and 2. Super disappointment. Now, New England, hey, they still got their W. But Cam Newton came back down to earth quite a bit. Only 11 points. Look, no one's going to be really, really pleased with that at all, right? Melvin Gordon, man, again, crashing back down to earth. Now, look, I know he wasn't like, Mr. Superstar, but he was solid. Getting you in the teens, right? Only 5 points from him. Nah, that didn't help your cause. Mr. Davis and Mike Davis there at Carolina. You might have something there. Now, granted, he was a replacement. Right? And so good pickup on that. Obviously, he's no McCaffrey, but getting 19 points from him, okay. All right. You mitigated a lot of the damage. Of course, McCaffrey, you're looking for mid-20s is pretty standard for him, right? Anyway. Mike Evans, all right, and Amari Cooper, combined for 26. Oh, okay. You do want more from your wide receivers. You definitely want more from them. But they aren't really the cause of your deficit here. I know I don't normally mention the defense, but your defense only got you 2 points. At least it wasn't negative, but they only got you 2 points. And I only mention that because on the flip side, Kurt's defensive choice this week got him 26 points. That's a huge disparity, right? Anyway. All right, and Mr. Robbie Anderson, again, solid flex play, he's good. He's good going forward, I think, for you. Obviously you're not going to replace Mike Evans or Amari Cooper with him unless the worst happens. But he's a good flex play. Now, looking at your bench here, Hilton, a lot of concern over T.Y. Hilton. A lot of concern over him. And then you gotta sitting on waiting for a bunch of guys. That's fine. That's what your bench is for, right? That's what your bench is for. Waiting for the McCaffrey to come back, though. I know. Anyway. All right, so a little bit of coming back to earth for Josh. Moving on to Kurt. Here we go. We got the most improved performance over the last couple of weeks, comparing to the week 1. And Kurt has been pretty active making moves, both waiver wire and getting into the trade game. I know this league doesn't like to trade a lot. We've 3 weeks in, we've only had 3 trades total. Come on, guys. It's not just the waiver wire here. There's a whole other aspect of the game. Anyways, so Matt Ryan again. I mean, both these QBs. Oh, man, oh man. But then you got Eckler. Fantastic. Miles Sanders is back. Look, he's going to continue to be a solid producer for you. 12, all right. Hey, 10, low teens. That's his floor, and he got you your 12. Odell Beckham. Look, I mean, I know there were some questions going into that Washington game, anyways. But Odell getting you just under 8 points. All right, he's gonna do this all season. DJ Moore with 7 points. Again, you're not ecstatic about either of those, but they didn't crap the bed completely. Obviously, Odell's got a higher ceiling than DJ Moore, but both of them, they could do better. Goddard's that sucks, man. I'm sorry about Goddard. I really am. He was both tight ends for Philadelphia were looking like they were both serviceable, but Goddard was kind of edging out Ertz. Not anymore. Not up for the season, but with a fracture, it's man, that sucks. All right, Mr. Corey Davis getting you 9 points. It says something when wide receiver for Tennessee, Mr. Corey Davis, gets you more than Odell Beckham and DJ Moore. Anyway, all right, so on your bench, look at Michael Gallup going off. I know you've been holding him. And obviously it's like, oh, this is the week you should have played him. Well, I mean, no one could have known that. And, considering your main two wide receivers, I wouldn't have put him over any of those. Maybe in the flex, maybe, but he hadn't done much yet, right? Certainly couldn't have seen 25 coming from. And hey, you didn't really need it. You still got your W. It's always nice to try to maximize your points, but you get more than your opponent. Just more than your opponent. Right? Everyone knows that? That's the name of the game? Get more points than your opponent? All right. And hey, look, Mr. Henderson down there in L.A. with 21 points. You're going to have some interesting decisions to make going forward, I think. I don't envy those decisions. But look, you've picked up some waiver wire guys that are starting to pan out, and with those, that comes decision making. Play those matchups. I mean, you know, but play those matchups and go from there. I wish I could say Logan Thomas. I know he's your replacement for Goddard, and going forward, yeah, he'll get you them 5 points. He'll get you them 5 points. But again. Man, Haskins is just showing himself to be a absolute average at best QB. So consider who's throwing to him. Maybe make some tight end moves. Anyways, all right. Very good. All right. That does it for our recaps here. Now, the other news that I think everyone needs to be aware of before I end this recap is a couple teams are starting to have some outbreaks. Yeah? So far it's been reported the Minnesota Vikings and the Tennessee Titans. So, be aware of their matchups, right? Tennessee Titans are going against the Steelers, and Minnesota Vikings are going against the Houston Texans. There's been talk about the league switching bye weeks around. So there's a very real chance that those games might not happen. Pay attention. This is one, we've been fortunate so far in these unprecedented times to not have come up against this yet. We've had 3 good weeks. Looks like week 4 we might not be so lucky. So pay attention to stuff. I'd hate for someone to lose because they got a couple people that aren't even playing this week due to an unexpected bye week. So pay attention to that stuff, guys. As always, make the moves you got to make. Try to get those W's. And I'll see you guys next week.